welcome to the Kevin Entertainment video. It's Art here with the movie review for Dune Part 2. This once again stars Timothée Chalamet as Paul Atreides, Zendaya as Chani, Josh Brolin as Gurney Halleck, and so many more. Dave Bautista returns as well. What a great... I love how this movie doesn't really give you a recap of the first one. Basically, the first one is the bookmark, and the second one picks up right where the first one leaves off. There's no real recap, which made watching them back to back like I just did wonderful, because it was refreshing not to have to spend 5 minutes going through a recap of what happened in a movie before. And this is the ascendancy and the latter half, the fun half of Frank Herbert's Dune in movie form, and they did a wonderful job. Now, these movies are long, 2 hours and 35 minutes for part 1, 2 hours and 43 minutes for part 2. So these movies are long in the tooth, but they have to be long in the tooth because they need room to breathe. They have a lot to expound. They didn't really skip over much. Now, they did skip over some stuff in the book, but it was stuff that could easily be washed away and kind of glossed over and glanced over. The one example is in the book there's a scene in which Chani and Paul do the birds and the bees. It happens in the movie, but it results in 2 becoming 3, and in the movie it just results in them falling more and more in love. And we know that Paul's sister, who we know from the first movie is still in the womb, is going to be a special being as well. Paul really does a lot of growing up, and the director did a wonderful job in showing his growing up through part 1 and part 2. It was kind of an phasing of the 2 movies to kind of push him towards becoming the man that he needed to be instead of the young teenage boy. The harvesters look amazing. The special effects are amazing. Javier Bardem is top notch again in Stilgar. It's just a wonderful star-studded cast that just knows their place and knows their role, and they play their role to the nth degree, and it makes the movie feel like it should feel in an ensemble cast. It makes Arrakis / Dune feel like a living, breathing world that, even though the movie's done with, we know it's a top-notch we know it's a top-notch film. We know it's a living, breathing world, that we know those characters, even though they're off stage now for the moment, we know they're still carrying on with their lives and things are going on. And the director did something wonderful. He left room for the first time ever for the other Dune Frank Herbert books like Dune Messiah and Children of Dune to be adapted as well. So he leaves a string for their yet to be pulled upon in case there's more Dune to come. To me, part 2 was better than part 1 in the simple fact that I think it flowed better. It still stuck greatly to the book. The first part did too, stuck greatly to the book, but it flowed better. It was higher energy. There was more going on and more stakes in the offing, if you will. And definitely more tension, more fun, and a fun little cameo playing a very important part. So that's when it's always fun. That's when it's always great. And for me, it's a 9 out of 10 popcorns again. There were parts of it that I wish kind of moved on. They didn't explain some things that I think needed explaining. They didn't explain them to their full breadth to where I think they needed explaining. But you gotta remember, they tried to cut it down, and maybe one of those scenes that would have explained the thing I want explained, which has to do with the Reverend Mother, probably might be on the cutting room floor, so we might see it in an extended director's cut edition. You never know. But I, for one, want to see more Dune books adapted into movies if they're going to be of this incredibly high quality. Because a lot of times you see Dune remade, and yes, the first book is in itself its own encapsulated story. I get that, I understand that, I completely am on board with that, and I've treated it as such too. But the book, along with the movies, has made me want to go into Dune Messiah and Children of Dune. Now, I will stop after Frank Herbert stopped, because I have heard on good sources that the books written by his children are not nearly as good, which, wouldn't you know it, that's probably the case. But to me, they're very, very fun movies. To me, I think I could see myself every once in a while going back and watching part 1 and part 2 back to back, or at least on back-to-back days, and doing this again, not even for review, but just for enjoyment. But for me, Dune Part 2 is another top-notch film in a top-notch way to finish off the Dune duology. Now, they split Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. They've split a lot of movies that didn't. They split The Hobbit into 2 parts. The Hobbit's a small book. It didn't need to be split. They were just trying to put more in there that didn't need to be put in there. But Dune, I think, is worthy of being split because it is such a mammothly large book and such a classically tomed science fiction novel that I think it's that amazing. Before I gush on too long, this is where I'm going to say, leave in the comments down below your thoughts on Dune Part 2. Would you like to see me do a deep dive on it? Let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, you know I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more. Please ding the notification bell to be notified when I upload a video. And without further ado, happy watching. I'll see you again soon. And peace.